Guys, deluded Guna, your guy, N'Golo Kante. The work rate's crazy. We know that. More importantly, we finished with September being finished in the Premier League. I reviewed August. Obviously, I'll review every other month. I got you guys covered. Let's talk about September. Let's start off with the club in the background, the club I support. 6 wins, I believe, from the last 7. Correct me if I'm wrong. The draw being against Swansea, Chelsea, undefeated in September. But if you're honest, and I am, it's irrelevant, really. Yes, it's good bouncing back from that Liverpool defeat, and it's from somewhat bouncing back from our early season crisis, losing games we shouldn't be losing, and dropping points ultimately. It's great, but if you're honest, we're not convincing. Our midfield, we have to now just stick with. We have to hope on Wilshere, but we know it's this Xhaka versus Ramsey thing. With that, we don't know which one of either player is turning up any games. We know what we're getting into. There's no fluidity between the team. Nobody looks inspired, generally speaking. There's hardly any movement, and we're getting by and we're winning. And you can say we're not convincing for me, and I don't think it's good enough. But on the other hand, we always say it's about winning when you're not playing well. That's all great. If this is all December, May, April, February, this is great. But ultimately, I'm happy to win. Who doesn't want to win? But we're in September, October now. But we're in September, so we shouldn't be talking about just grinding out results. And when you're doing this, game after game, there's something wrong. And a thingy for me, we know this has been going on for years. We're not ruthless. All our results, we could have probably killed every game we've played so far this Premier League season that we've won. The game could have been killed off very early, especially these ones at home. We need to win 3, 4, 5, 6, hopefully, etc. We beat Brighton today 2-0, and we could have had more. They could have scored, but we could have had more. But if you think about it, a couple chances, like I've spoken about in my other videos, Lacazette should have been squaring it. Alexis should have been squaring it. Ramsey, make your decision making up. You don't get away with these things against better teams. So yeah, man, we're in regards to the league, forget about it right now for Arsenal, man. It's a myth. Moving on. I mean, ultimately, before I move on, as much as I am going on like this, it's important to remember the media, because Arsenal are in this crisis, Arsenal are in this, Arsenal in the third, and Chelsea are on level points with us. So what does that mean? What I always say, context is needed. In May, yes, different things happen in the months, and that's beautiful football, reacting, changing opinions and things. May, it's a marathon, not a sprint. May, the talking will be done. That goes for criticising strikers that are scoring and not scoring. That goes for signings. That goes for the league table. Yeah. Moving on from Arsenal, our boys down the, well, not, I don't want to call us boys, but the guys from down the lane in Spurs. They beat Spurs. They beat Spurs 3-2. How can they beat themselves? They beat West Ham 3-2. They really should have held They should have held that for a 3-0. Shouldn't have got a clean. It should have kept a clean sheet. I know Pochettino's not happy with that. Cheap goals. They couldn't get the goal. Get a goal against Swansea when they drew. Obviously they beat Huddersfield 4-0. They weren't out of first gear for that and things like that. I think they yeah, man, they did their thing this month. They drew against Burnley last month. Like Spurs, similar to Arsenal, I think Spurs have several gears to go up. I think these positive results, like Arsenal again, glossing over results. Spurs, I'm yet to be convinced watching Spurs yet. The same way I'm not convinced by Arsenal, I'm not convinced by Spurs. I think there's several gears to go up. We know in the previous months, Harry Kane not scoring. Harry Kane went and got 13 this month. They're playing well, don't get me wrong. But it's by the same logic I'm saying with Arsenal. There's several gears to go up if you want to win any league. There's conceding 2 goals against Hammers. If that happens against Chelsea, well, Chelsea beat them, but if that happens in a bigger game, you don't get away with that. Swansea, it goes back to when some of you criticised me in my comments when I said they need that other player for when Kane and Dele Alli, not at it, because they were playing well in that Swansea game, because I watched it to illustrate the point. But they need someone else to dig them out. When Kane's being marked out of the game, when Dele's being closed down, you need that other guy to score. And they would have done that. Defensively, Spurs are amazing, man. You see in Davinson Sanchez, he's looking decent. Kane's got his goals. Eriksen's playing out of his skin. They're doing their thing, but I just feel there's a lot, like Arsenal, there's a lot to be positive about and improving about, but there's a lot of several gears and a level bit of rustiness to go out, especially if either side in North London wants to win the league. I feel both these sides have the most to do, to be honest with you. So yeah, man, several levels to go. City, top of the league. I don't think there's much in it with them and United, but they're top of the league. I still have my centre-back concerns. Like I said in August, they can win the league without a centre-half if they keep playing like this. But the problem is, they want to win Champions League. I'm sure they don't care about the Carling Cup and the FA Cup, but if you're in it, you want to go as far as you can. The league, you don't know who's going to get injured, fatigue and all of these things. It's wishful thinking to rely on them centre-halves if one doesn't get injured. Like, for me, I've told you guys, I believe on covering the all aces. And when they spent the money they have to not get a centre-half when Van Dijk is there, or they can scout something and do their jobs, is a joke. But away from that, they're dominating games. You saw them yesterday against Chelsea. Ridiculous, man. All over them. Don't get me wrong, Conte messed up the tactics and it played into City's hands, and Morata coming off helped them as well. But they were on point. They're playing lovely football. Everybody looks like they can score. Everybody looks like they want to score. Everybody looks like they want to assist. Everybody knows everybody's jobs. The high press. They're playing good. Their new signings, their Nilo's looking decent. Mendy unfortunately is injured. Walker's it's just fitted in. They're looking like they're going to do this thing, and they have you can't deny they are the most convincing side out of everybody in this month and in general. To be honest, they've bettered their record from last year. I'm not too sure of the size they played last year and this year in their opening couple games at the point for any context. But if they've scored more, conceded less, they're doing their thing, aren't they? And I think they've drawn less as well. So yeah, man, they've did what they've asked. United, similar to City, they're both Manchester clubs. They're looking convincing. Similar to City, United kind of have to. You're wondering when they get tested, when there's a couple injuries, like you see in Pogba now. Who's going to do the creative stuff in the middle of the park? Obviously, play Matter. What happens if a couple injuries? What happens in big games and things like that? I don't think United have been tested, but they've answered every question they've been given. I think Lacazette, he plays for Arsenal. Lukaku's got 11 in 10. I think he scored 7 consecutive Premier League goals or something like that. Andy Cole's record. Lukaku, we know he's got a lot of critics. I don't need to go into it, but he's doing his thing. They're keeping clean sheets. They're doing their thing defensively. I think De Gea's got the most clean sheets out of all the keepers in the top league. They're scoring goals. They've got more different goal scorers from last year. They've got the same points at this stage as they did in 1999 and 2011. I'm not one for superstition, but United fans, make of that what you will. If you were to be optimistic and take that for gospel, you'd say they have a very strong chance of claiming to be lifting the Premier League title in May. They're up for it. They look inspired, and it just comes down to the final margins. City and United, no doubt the most convincing sides between all the big clubs. So there's them. Liverpool, admittedly, they're playing Newcastle at the moment, guys, but I can't bother to be making these vids late. I need to go out. So, with that regards, in all competitions, 1 win from the last 6. They losing Mane didn't help them. They've won a game this month. I believe even though it's been tough for them, they've beat Leicester. I've got it here. They beat Leicester. They drew with Burnley. Burnley have been putting in some work. They lost to City the 5-0. And they've got Newcastle next. Obviously, if they win, they beat Newcastle. That's another win for them. But this month has been a bit stressful for Liverpool, defensively, offensively, with injuries and things like that. But last month, they were the flavour of the month. Now it's not going too good for them. Next month, who knows? We know football fans are very fickle in that regard. I do think Liverpool have been given an easy ride, purely on the fact that as well, when you consider prior going into this game, again, forget the Newcastle, 1 win in all comps in their last 6. Any other club, they get hotted up about that, but Liverpool to a degree is a media darling, and Klopp really needs to be scrutinised. I believe in Klopp. You can ask my friends, actually made the case for Klopp to join Liverpool before he went. But yeah, Liverpool still look good for the job, but they're like Arsenal and Spurs, 3 managers who relied on players too much, which I said in August. You're seeing the trend. All 3 of them clubs have a lot of work to do, in my humble opinion, to be honest. Chelsea, it's a bit so-so. They're looking strong, but there's also cause for concern, mainly with the recruitment, the setup of players. I think they've not been found out because their system still works amazingly. But it looks like Conte and the others are trying something new. Conte, in big games, I think Conte has to hold the L for the tactics. Against us, they could have beat us if they played 3 in midfield from the start. You saw when Bakayoko came on how much he got stretched. I'm not going to complain. I don't want to lose at Stamford Bridge again. So cool. City. Too defensive, not allowing his players to facilitate their strengths, thinking of the opposition too much. You know, Pep, what I can't get, that's to stay guys like that. What I can't get is Pep. Pep likes to have his team squeezing high. If you have a focal point, you give their centre half something to think about. Obviously now he brought on Willian, I believe, and Hazard went through the middle. There's nothing wrong with that, but there's no focal point. There's no focal point. They go further forward, and that helped capitulate them. To be honest, they're the title winners from last year, so they're defending. So there's a lot of pressure on them. If I'm honest, they're going to be in and amongst the claims for the top 4. They can still win the league. If you were to look at excluding the Manchester clubs, and you were to look at Arsenal, Spurs, and Liverpool, I'd back Chelsea convincingly, not because they necessarily have the best squad, it's because they've got the best system and they set up. If you had to ask me who's going to keep the most clean sheets out of the 2, out of all of the sides I said Chelsea. Obviously, by that logic, Spurs will be close and amongst there. But yeah, they've done their thing. They lost against City. They drew. They won 4-0 against Stoke. Morata's doing his thing. They beat Leicester, I believe. So yeah, man, they're doing their thing. They're just, for me, the big thing is just Chelsea let themselves down in big games, but they're winning games they need to be winning. I don't know how long Morata's out for, but he's doing his thing. Like, he's scoring goals. Dave Azpilicueta, he got terrorized against City like Alonso, but they've been all right. Collectively, the sides they've been okay. And yeah, man, Chelsea are going to be in amongst there. Quick little one on the relegated sides, or sides you'd think would be at the bottom half of the table or fighting relegation or whatever. You've got to give shout outs to Burnley throughout the whole season, to be honest, so far. Took points off Chelsea, taken points off Liverpool. Yeah, man, they're doing their thing. Beat Everton earlier today as well. They're doing their thing. While we're on the topic of Everton, they were hailed as doing the best business. Oh, Rooney with experience, he's good for this many goals. Sandro got this many goals in La Liga. Klaassen did this for Ajax. Blah, blah, blah. This, that, and the third. People were saying they did Koeman's a genius. Now, it's going to play. It's going pear-shaped. He needs to get sacked. He needs to do this. They lost against Burnley today. They keep losing. Defensively, they're a joke. They're in a lot of trouble. Not in the sense that they might. I think they're too strong to definitely go down and get relegated. But it could be a disappointing season, and Everton fans don't want to see this time and time again. In regards to the sides that got promoted out of Newcastle, Brighton, and Huddersfield, I'd say you'd think, because it's Rafa Benitez, you'd think he'd keep them up out of all of them, but they look a bit shaky. Brighton work hard, but at the end of the day, it's about 3 points. Huddersfield, I think they're going straight back down again. They work hard, but it just doesn't with the likes of Moy and stuff like that. I just don't think the quality is there, and they're switched on defensively. They probably look the poorest defensively out all the 3 teams I've just mentioned, to be honest. But yeah, man, that's Premier League in October wrapped up, to be honest. Pretty sure I've missed some stuff out. Get in the comments, subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. Apologies about that falling down, but there's no way I'm going to start and record this again when I'm on such a roll. Guys, I'm signing out. Honestly, it means a lot. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Get at me for more possible videos you want me to bring out. I'm out.